first half. I mean, he set the tone early, and they jumped out to that huge lead. Again, the Detroit Pistons, 11 straight playoff losses. That's the 4th most in NBA history in a row.
Man, he pulled up Water Street with the right mindset, disposition. He came with his Bucks jump up on. You know, everybody wearing all the flashy and designer clothes and everything. He came business mode, business mentality, and he put on a demonstration.
Yeah, Andre Drummond, one of those people frustrated with that demonstration, ejected a flagrant 2 in the 4th quarter. Here he is.
I got the shower early.
What areas do you want to improve upon, not you specifically, but the team as a whole before game 2?
I think we got to come out with more energy. From the beginning, we can't allow them to get a good break going. Transition defense is huge for us. We allowed them to get going early, and we couldn't sustain it from there.
How were you able to guard Giannis for that stretch that you did in the first half?
Tell me when I switched on him?
Yeah. Well, no, when you were guarding him.
Yeah. I made the call during the timeout. You know, I tried to get thrown off of him because, you know, he had 2 quick fouls. So I told him I'll guard him. And I'll guard him the remainder of the game when he comes back in. I watched that kid from the moment he was drafted, so I know his game like the back of my hand. Obviously, playing him as many times as I have too, so I know what he's going to do. So I'm just going to try to play him as best as I can and keep him out of the paint.
What was going through your mind when that flagrant went down?
Next question.
Was it frustration? I mean,
Next question, please.
What are the challenges in facing Giannis?
He's just a great player, really good player. I mean, obviously, when he gets that 3-point shot down, he's going to be very tough to guard. But as of now, he's a force in the paint, and it's to try to keep him out of there as much as possible.
How much are you guys missing Blake out there tonight?
He's definitely missed us. A lot of our points that are off the board at the moment, so a lot of guys have to step up and knock down big shots. The shots we took tonight, we usually make. Got to get the jitters out and knock them down next game.
Were there a sense of jitters at halftime? Coach told me he felt there was a little bit of stage fright.
No, I don't think guys had stage fright. I think earlier on in the game, it was more of just the excitement level was a little too high. Everybody was excited to be out there. You know, we made it to the playoffs, so it was more of being too excited, not relaxing, and just playing the game, let it come to us.
Is the general game plan with Giannis just to keep him in the paint, make him shoot from outside, and if he does get inside, then make him go to the line and make him shoot?
Well, the game plan, obviously you can't stop him from getting in the paint. He's just going to put his head down and keep driving in there, is to make him take tough shots, take charges when he does try to bulldog his way in, force him to take 3-point shots, and if we do foul him as hard as possible.
How challenging is it when you're playing the first game of the playoffs and you know you're not going to have Blake?
Say it again? How challenging is it? Well, we haven't had him for the past 3 weeks, so I think that feeling of being challenged is gone. Trying to. I think we'll be fine. We have another game on Wednesday. We know what to do to be a good team and to beat this team. So just got to put it forth and win.
What are the things that Reggie said?
They came out aggressive. They came out ready. They really attacked, and we were the ones that were attacked. So they did a great job. They got game 1. I think they did what everyone expected them to do, get a win at home. But we just can't let this one beat us twice. We have to put it behind us, go back, learn from it, watch film, but just come out with a better mindset to start the game on Wednesday.
A loss is a loss at the end of the day, but how demoralizing is it when you get thumped that soundly?
A loss is a loss.
What areas do you guys need to improve upon? You have a couple days to prepare for the next one.
All of them. Really our compete level, honestly. We have to come out, like I said, we have to come out and attack. I think they did a great job of attacking first. Sports is very simple. Attack or be attacked. So we come out and compete, and then we have something to go back on the board and figure out.
Coach, you always talk about making the other team take the shots you want them to take. Did they do a good job?
No, they took all the shots that they wanted to.
On the other, did they do a good job of making you guys take shots they wanted you to take?
No, I think we got some good looks at times. Just unfortunate we didn't make it, but once they got out so far ahead, especially against the first unit, I think the game gets easy for everybody when you're up 20 points and it's very free flowing. So we have to keep it close, have to muck it up, make it an ugly game, but we have to come out and hit first.
Thank you.
So according to Rod Beard for the Detroit News, Blake Griffin says, if it was just my decision, I would have played. My frustration level is at a 10. So Blake Griffin did not play. and he continued to talk about it. Said returning from his knee injury is not a pain issue only, sounds more complicated than that. A lot of people in on the decision to sit him. So Blake Griffin, I would imagine, is going to play in Game 2. Looking at these comments, Detroit Pistons, I mean, they got shellacked in Game 1. They didn't score as many points as the Bucks scored in the first half until the back end of the fourth quarter. So Blake Griffin sees that frustrated. Do you like what he's saying here?
No. Because that decision was made prior to the game for whatever reason, whether he's included or not. I think that starts to shed too much light on the process that the public or media, we don't need to know. That was an internal decision made by the team and the player. Maybe he didn't like the decision, but that's what it was. Keep that in-house, internal, in particular in the postseason. We don't need to send any messages that we are not, as an organization, on the same page about the decisions we're making. So I would have preferred that he just kept that private.
What about you? How do you feel about this?
I echo the same sentiments. I mean, you keep that in-house. There's no need to go to social media and talk about an injury that you made the decision, the team made the decision you were not going to play. If you really were at a 10, you would have been in your uniform, out there playing. But because of the result, now you got to go to social media. So I just think it's unfair to the team, to the training staff, and his teammates. So being a leader of that team, Blake needs to understand that, hey, I wasn't available tonight. I'll be available this next one. Enough said.
Karan, when we look at the Pistons and their offense this season, it was, look, Blake Griffin averaged a career high in points per game. And he really was the catalyst behind what they did. Thon Maker replaced him in his game. We know Thon started his career with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's not nearly the production you get from Blake Griffin. They missed a lot with him out of the lineup. And it's not just the numbers, a lot more to that, right?
Yeah, Blake is a guy that can score in the paint. And, I look at the Bucks, 52 points in the paint to the 38 points in the paint, from the Detroit side. But also, I think basketball and specifically the playoffs is all about adjustments, right? So if there's a strong chance of Blake Griffin playing in the next game, which is Game 2 versus the Milwaukee Bucks, that would be a huge adjustment for the Milwaukee Bucks to make. So I wouldn't put that information out there like it's a strong chance that I'm going to be out there on that platform playing, because it should be a game-time decision, and let them play possum for a minute and figure out what you guys are going to do going next. But now you just showed your hand, so he's going to be out there Game 2, and you're not going to catch him off guard, and they're prepared for it.
There seem to be a lot of layers, too, with Griffin being out and then Andre Drummond with the flagrant 2 getting ejected from the game. He didn't want to talk about it afterwards either. What do you make of his frustration? The Pistons as an organization, their frustration, again, 11 straight playoff losses for them.
Well, as the rim protector, he told you, Giannis is imposing his will on their paint, which is his job to protect the rim.
Okay.
So at some point in that game, early in the third quarter, frustration started to set in. You're getting your butt kicked, and as the anchor of your defense, you take it upon yourself. I don't have a problem with that foul. It's a playoff foul. Yes, it was flagrant, and he wanted to send a message. So I would prefer him to do that in the first quarter of the game, and now it kind of sets the tone. But he did it when he did it, so hopefully this game will get a little more physical. That's what Detroit is going to have to do. If you're going to continue to let Giannis and the rest of the Bucks walk into your paint and impose their will, then you're going to be at home early.
121-86, the Game 1 win by the Milwaukee Bucks, looking like a team on a mission in their first game of the 2019 playoffs. Giannis Antetokounmpo took off from the free throw line. What he's going to say about his game, find out next. You're watching Game Time Live, playoff edition, fellas.
And, he expects a lot of himself, and, he delivers a lot of times.
Nico didn't shoot well from deep, but he played 15 minutes. What did you see in his return after missing 11 games?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, that you mentioned, he got 15 minutes. I think obviously probably didn't have it mapped out for him to get quite that many, but I think his conditioning's in a pretty decent place because he's been able to do a lot with his lower body. And so, I think just for him to knock off the rust, for him to, see a couple baskets go in, keep shooting it, he's going to be a big part of what we do going forward.
It seems like Giannis clunked his head pretty good on that early foul from Thon. Do you expect him to undergo any further testing on his head after that?
No, not that I'm aware of.
think we've spoke a lot about the balance of the offense through the year, and there was certainly a stage today. I think you're up by 25 points or something in the second quarter, and Chris and Bledsoe had only had 5 shots between them. In terms of the offense today, what did you like about it, and do you see even more room for improvement when you look at those two guys?
Well, we've talked all year about just taking what the defense gives you, and every night it can be somebody different. Every half it can be somebody different. I think it's a huge positive for us that, we can score at the rate we're scoring, and, Chris may have a quiet half or Bled may have a quiet half, and there's always areas to improve. We can get better offensively, but, I love it when I see a box score, when lots of guys are participating, lots of guys are, having good games, and we're not totally dependent on just, those top 3 guys, top 4, top 5 guys. So we're getting it from a lot of different places.
Bud, what's your view of the Drummond foul on Giannis that got him ejected?
I actually didn't see any of the replays. It seemed pretty obvious in the heat of the moment that it was a flagrant one, and he gave him a good push. It's part of the playoffs. It didn't seem like anything. Besides, it's obviously a flagrant, but it's part of the game.
Coach, another nice contribution from George Hill off the bench. How nice is it to know that you can just trot him out there and you always know you're going to get a positive performance from him?
Yeah, I think his aggressiveness offensively has become more consistent, more steady. He's such a great teammate. Sometimes he defers. He wants other people to do things, but he and I have had a couple good conversations. He's at his best. Whatever team he plays on is at their best when he's aggressive, and I think he's feeling that and sensing that and taking advantage of his opportunities. And I thought he was a big part of that first half, a big part of us sustaining our kind of pressure on both ends of the court. It's great when you can come off the bench with a guy like George Hill.
Coach, seeing 3 road teams lose yesterday, and even the Celtics were down at halftime today, is that something you look at all, and is that anything you communicate to the team just to work on that focus, that it is the playoffs and everybody plays at a higher intensity level?
We didn't talk about it, but I mean, we all have phones and TVs and all the other devices, so I'm sure the players saw it. I'm sure the coaches, I saw it. It's something that you take notice of, and it's just a reminder that, the regular season's done, seedings and home court at the end of the day can be meaningless. And so you have to bring the focus that our guys brought, whether they watched it or they even know or had any impact, I have no idea.
But with all due respect to the other Pistons, when Blake Griffin is available and on his game, what changes for them?
Well, he's such a focal point of their offense. He does so many things for them with the ball. He's a very unique big, and that he can be the ball handler in pick and rolls. They can have big guys coming and setting screens for him in pick and rolls. They have small guys coming and setting screens for him in pick and roll. Then he can just play one-on-one from the post. He's a significantly improved three-point shooter, so he's got a great pump fake and go game from the three-point line. He's Blake Griffin. He's a dynamic offensive player, scorer, athlete. He's good, so he makes a big difference.
You mentioned earlier just the need to stay humble over these next couple games and get ready for game 2. How do you foster that humility and kind of instill that over the next couple days?
Well, we'll look at the film. I always believe film sessions are the best place. It's where you can.
Everybody in a hurry? Any questions?
I guess I'll start. Obviously, it doesn't go the way you wanted tonight, but just what do you think you guys did well against?
Well, again, they're a great team. We didn't meet the level of physicality, and then we tried. We, got some cheap fouls, but we got the speed of the game we've got to get up to. Again, they're a great team. They're averaging, 117. We were all over the map defensively, didn't get anything done. But we got another level we have to get to with our intensity, physicality, because they're coming through there with violence. Euro stepping, throwing elbows and stuff like that. So we got to make sure we get our level of competitiveness up to start the game, because you can't spot a great team like this that many points and expect to get back into it.
How do you spoke about defensively. You had some issues there, particularly at the start of the game. How do you go about weathering that
Well, we got to
storm?
get back. Yeah, that's where it started. Our transition defense was suspect. It's not a regular season game, and that's again a sign of a team that hasn't been there enough. And that's on me. I've got to make sure I prepare them for, and it's hard to do when you talk about it until you go through the night to see how fast, how hard, how intense a playoff game is. And I thought we picked it up after that, which was a positive.
Dwayne, from my outsider's perspective, it seems like it's easy to see that you guys feed off of Blake and you feed off of Andre. So when Blake is out and Andre gets ejected, who do you look towards? What do you do?
Again, we still have Reggie Jackson still there. Again, you don't replace. It'll be like them not having Antetokounmpo, or back in the day when LeBron was in Cleveland not playing. So it's a big blow, but yet and still that doesn't affect our intensity, our level of fight to start the game. I mean, we picked it up as the game went on, but again, it was too late. You dig yourself such a big hole. So we've got to come out of the locker room not in a festive smiling, hey, no, it's a battle. It's a battle. They got their level up a lot quicker than we did, on the jump ball. So we got to understand that, know that, understand what we're trying to do offensively. Defensively, we understand what we're doing, and my bads, you can't have a lot of those, especially to start the game.
Dwayne, a couple of days ago you said that you like this experience because you could see, maybe gauge certain things about guys you can't in the regular season. From Luke in particular in the first half, what'd you see?
I thought Luke came out. He was one guy that had his offensive game going, but again, it's two sides. Everybody has got to come back down and guard on the other end, but I like the way Luke was being aggressive offensively. And again, it's a great experience for him to see how hard it is to score in a playoff setting, and how intense you have to be when you do go back down to the other end. But I was really happy to see Luke, and he's been playing that way for the last couple of weeks.
Coach, on the flagrant two, your comment about that, did you think it was a flagrant
I didn't
two?
think it was a flagrant. They were trying to get the game under control. I've seen a lot harder fouls in a playoff setting than that. But I understood what they were doing. But what I didn't understand was official coming over, having a conversation with a player that's not even playing and giving him a technical. So I've got to get an explanation for that. You start a conversation, you have a conversation, and all at once you let it get heated instead of walking away. And again, it's a hot situation. Walk to the other side of the floor instead of trying to have a conversation. So I understood what they were trying to do, and I got to look at it and see if it was warranted. But I've seen a lot from a layman's eye. I've seen a lot harder flagrant fouls.
Do you think more like a flagrant one, or what?
Should have been, but again.